Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
As the stringent national lockdown eases bit by bit in places and people are starting to venture out again, one of the most important health precautions to adopt is wearing a mask. While a mask does not offer 100% protection against the SARS-CoV-2 virus, it is important to wear one as a preliminary filter for potential transmission of the COVID-19 disease. There are different kinds of masks out there on the market right now, as we all know. There are surgical masks, cloth masks, 3-ply masks, N95 masks, and so on. It is important to understand how these masks work and which ones we need to choose for our daily lives so as to ensure that we're protected and the people around us are protected and safe. We also need to ensure that hospitals and healthcare workers have adequate supplies of these masks, as well as there tends to be a very common shortage of protective equipment during times of a pandemic. Before delving into details about different kinds of masks and what situations they have to be used for, it is once again imperative to stress that masks do not offer a 100% protection. They are always meant to be used in conjunction with both physical distancing as well as regularly washing hands with soap. In fact, these two measures are much more important than wearing a mask. To understand which masks are used for what situation, let's first understand how the transmission of the COVID-19 disease occurs. The SARS-CoV-2 virus transmission is through droplets. When an infected person coughs or sneezes or laughs or speaks or even just breathes, cough droplets could be expelled from their nose and mouth. These droplets can then be transmitted up to a distance of 1 meter typically, which is why when we're physical distancing, we're asked to maintain a minimum distance of 1 meter or 6 feet at the very least. This distance is of course under normal circumstances. If there is a draft of wind, such as from an AC vent, the droplets could be carried even further. 97% of cough droplets are about 1 micrometer in size. A micrometer is 1,000th of a millimeter. Some cough droplets are between 1 and 10 micrometers, and studies have shown that a single cough can produce up to 3,000 individual droplets. But it is typically the larger droplets that tend to fly about more, and those are the ones that masks protect us against. The only way to keep cough droplets in is, of course, by covering our noses and our mouths, and that is with a mask. A mask is typically more useful for a person who is already infected than it is for someone who is healthy and not yet contracted the virus. The mask helps greatly in keeping cough droplets in more than it does in keeping viruses out. This is not to say that it's completely useless for those who are healthy, of course. It does offer a light layer of protection against droplets even for those who are healthy. The protection comes with necessary caveats of duration of exposure to an infected person and the distance from an infected person as well. There are 3 main kinds of masks that are being used around the world today. The first and the most important on everyone's lips is the N95 mask. The N95 is actually a respirator. It's in fact a mechanical filter respirator which offers protection against particulate matter but not gases or fumes. This means that the mask can be worn to protect oneself against pollution, for example, but not against toxic gas. Among the different masks available in the market today, this is indeed the most efficient at preventing the virus from entering into our respiratory system, but its primary use is in situations where aerosolization occurs. Now, aerosolization is a process of converting droplets into particles that are small enough and light enough to be carried in the air. The risk for this is high mostly in surgical settings inside a closed room, such as when performing a surgery or even an autopsy on an infected cadaver whose lungs are being examined. It is in situations like this that the N95 mask is most handy, and that too for healthcare workers. Healthcare workers also use it because they are constantly in contact with multiple infected patients throughout the day and are exposed to infected patients for longer periods of time than regular people are. This naturally increases the risk of contraction of COVID-19 for these healthcare workers. However, on a global scale, there is a shortage of N95 masks and PPE, because of which regular citizens are encouraged not to use N95 and stick to using other kinds of masks instead. Besides, the N95 respirator is difficult and tricky to wear. It is not a one-size-fits-all mask. Before purchasing, the mask has to first be tested to make sure that it fits the face of the person that it's being bought for. The mask has to sit tight around the face and can be extremely uncomfortable to wear. Every time it is worn, a tightness check needs to be done. It is also very difficult to breathe through this mask, and it requires a little bit of training to be able to wear it completely throughout the day and breathe in it comfortably. Lastly, of course, the N95 is also very expensive. The more common alternative to the N95 is the surgical mask or the medical mask. Also known as a laser mask, in fact, it is typically used by healthcare professionals and surgeons in surgical settings, as you can see in typical images of a surgery being done. These surgical masks are also much more comfortable to wear than the N95 because they are loose fitting. But of course, the loose fit naturally increases the risk of droplet inhalation through these masks. Once again, the risk, however, is mitigated by physical distancing. Surgical masks are popularly worn by the general public in many Asian countries like China, Japan, and South Korea, which are exposed to more infectious diseases as well as increased air pollution. They are built to protect against droplet transmission, but not transmission of aerosolized bacteria or virus. By construction, they do not provide a complete protection against very small particles. However, since they are layered, the protection they offer is slightly amplified. This is one of the reasons why it's mandated that the masks we use for public health have to be 3-ply. This means that the mask is made up of 3 layers of whatever material is used. Typically, a 3-ply material is made of a melt brown polymer of plastic, most commonly polypropylene, and is placed between non-woven fabric. The melt-blown material is the filter that stops microbes from entering and exiting the mask layers. The mask also comes with pleats which can be used to stretch out the mask over the nose and up to the chin for faces of various sizes. Surgical masks came to prominence in the 60s as they replaced the then popular cloth masks. Incidentally, cloth masks are becoming popular again. As the name suggests, they are made of cloth, and the most common material that is used tends to be cotton, typically. They are of course less effective than an N95 and surgical masks, but once again, the risk is mitigated by physical distancing. Cloth masks were routinely used by healthcare workers until the 60s and have now been revived due to a shortage of both respirators as well as surgical masks. Cloth masks are reusable, and this is their biggest advantage. They are also 3-ply and have 3 layers of cloth for additional protection. Just like the surgical mask, they also do not fit tightly and snugly and thus offer less protection than the N95 just through their fit. They are to be washed regularly after every use. Studies have found that cloth masks and surgical masks in fact do allow 50 to 80% of particles in, but even when they do so, they do offer protection against large droplets, and they especially help in containing droplets in when the masks are worn by an infected person. In fact, it is well understood that the primary reason for mandatory masking is prevention of asymptomatic and pre-symptomatic people from transmitting infected droplets out, rather than for the primary purpose of preventing infection among healthy people. Studies regarding the results of wearing a mask tend to vary widely and significantly in their findings, with many showing that wearing a mask is extremely effective, while several other studies show that they are not effective at all. However, Even the studies that show that masks are not as effective as we'd like to think do show a certain amount of efficacy against droplet transmission. And this is the main reason why the use of mask always has to be supplemented with the two other important principles of hand washing with soap and physical distancing. Irrespective of location and setting, physical distancing is probably the most efficient way to prevent the spread of the virus today. Washing hands is important when it comes to fomite transmission. Fomite transmission occurs when droplets are expelled and settle onto a surface, and then a healthy person comes along and touches the surface and then touches their face, thus increasing the risk of transmission of the virus through their respiratory system simply by the act of touching their face. This process does need to happen very quickly as the virus does not survive on surfaces for long periods of time. But as the number of cases around us climb around the world and the number of people around someone getting infected goes up, as does the risk of fomite transmission. Masks also play another crucial role in the prevention of fomite transmission. One of the most significant results of wearing a mask is that it reduces the chances of us repeatedly touching our face multiple times a day. An average human can touch their face up to 2,000 times a day. And simply the fact that the person is wearing a mask can make them more conscious about not taking their hands towards their nose and mouth. Masks are now on their way to becoming a fashion statement, especially through large-scale public adoption of cloth masks, which are advised and are good enough for use for the general public. While advisories on masking have gone back and forth and have been very dependent on respirator availability for healthcare workers and the sick, it is now well understood that any layer of protection is better than no protection. At the stage of epidemic that we are at, even a single layer of cloth mask works. If there is a shortage of surgical masks or cloth masks, DIY masks made from t-shirts or a makeshift bandana are better than nothing at all. This is Sandhya Ramesh from Bengaluru for The Print.